Hello and welcome to this Affinity Photo tutorial. Now the other day I was going around the internet and I came across this Photoshop tutorial by Blue Lightning TV about creating a double exposure graphic portrait. So I thought I'd give it a go in Affinity Photo and sort of try and adapt it for Affinity Photo. Now the one thing I knew I couldn't really do was this tree effect, because they've obviously used a filter that's available in Photoshop that isn't available in Affinity Photo, but I thought I'd give it my best shot, and this was like the result I came up with using an image of myself. So I've been tinkering with that idea and adapting it a bit further, and I've come up with a result like this that will end up looking like a poster. This is for a film, but you could be sort of a poster for anything. So this is like the end result that I'm going to be looking for. Now, if I come back to this here, there are plenty of double exposure videos out there, be they Photoshop ones or Affinity Photo ones. This is one by Affinity Revolution, and this is like the sort of normal, for want of a better phrase, double exposure type image, where you sort of would have a portrait, for example, and like you would have the landscape double exposed into it. Whereas like this particular one is the portrait is sort of inside the landscape, and sort of like a reversal of that effect. So which is why I found this sort of alternative slightly interesting and worth remaking. Now, a couple of things I'm going to also point you towards is, the font you use on here is sort of really up to you, but this particular font that I use down here for the film credits and the Parental Advisory sticker, the font is called SteelTongs, and I will add links to this and the images I'm going to use, which I got from Pixabay.com. I will add links to all these in the description for this video, but this font is interesting in the fact that all the capital letters will type the letters, and all the lowercase letters will add the, like music by or edited by, so you can make that film poster effect. So you would type, say, like a small lowercase e to have edited by, and then you'd use the uppercase to type the person's name, so you get the different sizes of fonts. The Parental Advisory explicit contact thing I got from World Vector Logos, which is an SVG, but we can adapt that in Affinity Photo. And like I said, the images I got from Pixabay.com, I've gone with this same sort of tree landscape image as in the Blue Lightning TV video, mainly to sort of stick close to that video, but I'm sure you could use any sort of landscape image that you wanted. And lastly, I used this image of this young man. Now the thing you do need with this particular project is to have a portrait where there is a very definite shadow across the face, so one half is dark, one half is light. Doesn't have to be like the dark on this side, it can be this side, but as long as one side is dark and one side is light. So that is basically the groundwork set out. So I'll just reset things and I will come back and we will start the video. Okay, starting this tutorial properly now. I've opened up the image of this young man, and like I said, you want an image that has a very defined shadows and lights area, and it doesn't have to be this particular image and this size. You can measure whatever size that you want to work with, but it does need to be in black and white. So the first thing I'm going to do with this particular picture is just add the black and white adjustment, and I'm not going to alter anything on here. I'm just going to merge that into that image so that it is a black and white image. Then I'm going to again come back to the adjustments, and I'm going to add a curves adjustment, and I'm going to sort of click around the middle, and I'm going to raise this line upwards, so we're making especially the highlights much more sort of washed out, much brighter down this side. So again, I'm going to merge that in, so that is all effectively just the one image now with no added layers. So now I'm going to crop this image, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring whatever side your lightest side is on, I'm going to bring that in closer to the side of the face. I'm going to bring the black in a little bit, but I want more of a darker edge to work with than I do the lighter edge. So I'll just double click there to crop that image, and then we're going to add another curves adjustment. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the bottom node, and I'm going to just drag it across to about this this line here that's coming down, and that is going to darken not just the blacks in that area, but also a lot of the darker mid-tones. And then on the opposite corner, I'm going to again drag this highlights one across, and you can come to about one line across, maybe as far as 1.5, depending on your image. I'll go to, no, I don't think I'll go quite to 1.5, I'll go to about 1.25, so this is much brighter down here and darker down there. And again, I will merge that down into the image. Now, just to make sure that I'm not sort of taking across any of the excess that we've cropped off, I'm just going to right click this and merge visible, so that layer is now just what is visible. And what I need to do now is just add a pixel layer above that merge visible layer that I've just made. Come to the brush tool and brushes. I need a soft brush, so I'm going to come down to this one here on the Basics tab, which will give me opacity of 100, flow of 100, hardness of 25, and the color I'm going to make sure is black. And size, I can alter this, actually I can raise this up. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint away a lot of this excess area on the side here that hadn't quite gone black yet. Now this is where I forgot to mention a bit earlier that it does help, is when you crop this, is that you've cropped just a little bit of the hair, top of the head off, so there is a definite point where there is black on one side and white on the other. So I'm quite happy where that is at the moment, and you can also then change over to the white, and if there's any areas up here that you want to sort of just make sure that they are white, I'll get rid of that bit there. So you have a definite sort of white half and black, not that it's actually in half, but you know what I mean, it's this side is definitely white and this side is definitely black. So again, I'll right click that layer to merge visible, so I have a copy of that whole image that we have done so far. Next, go to landscape image and then just come up to the layer for this image, right click and copy, or you can control and C. Come back to your portrait image and come up to the edit menu and paste, or control and V. And I'm going to have to zoom out for this one, because especially now we've cropped it, your image of your landscape will probably be a lot bigger than the background. So I'm going to come to the move tool and let me just do a quick resize. And remember, when you're resizing, to hold down the control or command key so it keeps in proportion. I'll just do a quick rough resize. So that's just a quick guess. I'm going to lower the opacity down to about 60% or so, and then I'm just going to move this into position, and let's press Control and 0 to see what that position is looking like. So I'm going to want that about maybe about there. Yes, I think that's not too bad. So I will bring that opacity back up to 100%, but I'm going to change its blend mode to overlay, so you can see the tree images is coming through the white areas or the lighter areas and not affecting the darker areas. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate that layer, and if you like that effect you can sort of keep that, or you can sort of tinker around with other screen modes, like screen, other blend modes like the screen for example, to get an effect you want. But I'm going to leave this on normal, and then I'm going to add a layer mask to this layer here. Come to the paintbrush, make sure that black is the color selected, because we have a white layer mask and we're making sure that it's the mask that we're painting on, not the image. And let's have the hardness down a little bit, around 50%, and the opacity is going to be on, start off on 30%, and it's just a case of painting around this area to slowly bring back that image that's underneath, and how much of this you want. If you want to keep it like a lot brighter on this edge here, because you've got some of that white image there to play with, and you may want to just bring back like a lot of the skin areas and leave the features a bit darker, and again put some of those shadows a bit darker as well, just so it makes it a bit more ominous, which is the whole point of for me anyway, for this image, to make this sort of scary horror film poster effect. Right, slowly getting there. So like I said, how much of the face you bring back depends on, you know, your personal taste and the image that you are sort of looking to make. Right, I'm almost here. I'm not a big fan of what's happening down here, so I'll change to the black, the white brush, and I'll just bring back some of that foreground. Let's lower the hardness down and definitely the opacity down. Right. Get in there slowly. So every time you tried this, I'll get different results. It's all down to your personal taste, really. But I don't want to spend so long masking this off. Right, I just sort of want a gentle glow going around the side of this chap's face. So I come back to black just to let's increase that hardness, opacity a bit more. I want to sort of knock out some of those trees that are coming through the chap's skin area, on the face. Get rid of a lot of those just so the features are a bit more prominent. There we go. Right, I think that would do for now. I'll just go over that area that I made us. Let's lower that opacity back down again. Right, yes, I'm happy with that. So I will leave sort of that as it is, but you could refine the masking off far better than I've done. So I'm going to click on the icon for that layer, so I'm no longer editing the mask, and I'm going to just duplicate that layer, or layers, as it's got a mask on it. So I'll just come down to duplicate, or Control and J, and then I'm just going to change the blend mode. So this is going to affect the tree mainly, not so much the background, and find an effect that you like. Now I found that color burn or overlay are quite good, but I'm going to go with color burn, just to give that tree that sort of eerie look to it, which has made it a bit closer to the Blue Lightning TV sort of arty look that he gave to the tree. This does sort of highlight where the mask is a bit dodgy, but you can always come back to this second mask and come to your brush tool and paint a bit of white. So you just got to get rid of some of those more obviously dodgy areas that I've got around the outside there. And I can also come back to painting a bit of black to get rid of some of those trees and branches that are now more noticeable with this second layer. Let's increase that opacity. I can always come back to the first mask and have another go at that one. I don't necessarily want to get rid of all of them, it's just so it's not affecting the image as much as it was. Yes, I think that's suitably sort of eerie looking. So yes, I'm reasonably happy with that. So that would technically be the end of the tutorial in the sense of the Blue Lightning TV tutorial. So what I'm going to do now, so you could save this and that would be the end of it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this top layer and merge visible. So we're now working on a layer that has everything that we have done before. So this is where I'm going to add my text. So I'm going to come to the artistic text tool, and the font I'm going to use, you don't have to use this font, or I'm going to use one which is called Attack. There. I'm going to make sure the color is white. It's going to be not gradients, grays. Make sure the color is white, and just start typing. Whichever title you're giving your poster or your book or whatever you're designing this for. And I'm just going to do a quick resize and reposition. Let's have that about there. And you have it whatever color you want. So I'm going to then add the credits, and now this is in the SteelTongs font. Let's start down here. So let's go with a lowercase w, which will give you the art director. So then I'll hold down the shift and type the name of the person that's the art director. Do a space. A lowercase o will give me screenplay. So again, you could add the person that made that. Quick return. A lowercase p will give you executive producer. So I'm going to make this. Let's use my wife's name. No, my wife's name this time. And lowercase n, which give you based on the novel by. Again, holding down the shift key. So there you have your credits that you want to add. And then the next thing is the parental guidance image. And like I said, this is an SVG image from where I got it from anyway, which is made up of all these layers that make up this particular image. But I don't want it in layers, I want it in a single layer. So I'm just going to right click that and merge visible, which for some reason it has put that inside the layer. Let's put it at the top. I want this above that layer, so I can turn off all those SVG layers and just have this single layer that I'm working on. And then I'm going to come to the flood select tool. I've got the tolerance on about 20, and I'm just going to click on the outside. So it is just selecting the outside, it's not selecting the inside. And then I'm going to press the delete key just to get rid of all that white. I can then press Control and D, and then I'm just going to, that Control and D will get rid of the selection area. Now we'll right click this layer and copy it, come back to the image I'm working on, and then edit and paste. And then it's just a case of resizing this, again holding down the Control key, and let's come to the move tool, and I'll put this down here and finish resizing, repositioning it. So that is really the end of the tutorial. You can save it, export it now, and you have your film poster or book cover, whichever you want to use this for. And thank you for watching, and goodbye.